Hey there, y'all, it's LJ here, and I finally figured out how to do a proper speed paint layout for this video, and I'm super excited about it. And since this is a speed paint from two of my OCs, I figured I'd take the time to, well, talk about them for a bit, because these two hold a very special place in my heart. So first off, as a recap, if any of you guys are new here and don't follow me on TikTok, I've started posting about my OCs in my story comic that I'm calling Rise of the Warriors. It's a comic I started back in high school when I was really into another comic series that was based on like different fandoms and other stuff. And I started with my own, but I made it all original OCs now, but the old comic was like a fandom mix again when I made it. But the reboot is currently in the works. I have character sheets that are halfway done. I have a lot more to do. The script is being written right now for the first season, and I am on the road to remaking this comic by like the end of the summer. That is my goal. The upcoming videos, I suppose, will be more to promote my comic. I didn't really post anywhere else whenever I first made a comic. I posted it on Amino, and that's really the only place the comic I've ever seen a lot of day. So I'm not sure where I would post it yet, but like I said, this is going to be a chill video. I'll talk about these two OCs, what their roles are in the comic, and we'll just have a good time here. Alright, let's go. So these two are named Allison and Rita Diamond, but everyone calls her Allie, including myself, because that's her nickname. And these two play a really big part in my comic, namely because Allie is part of my main 7 team, and Rita is, well, because she's one of her siblings, so of course she'll be in the comic. If I want to be really technical though, their full names are Princess Allison and Rita Diamond, because they are the children of the leader of my species called the Dragon Demons, that are like the main big kingdom, one of them at least, in my land that I call Novalena in my comic. They are the youngest siblings of 4 of them actually, so they have 2 older siblings, and their names are Marina and Adam Diamond, and I will be talking about them in an upcoming video, so hold on to your butts because their video is going to be a little bit long as well too. Since they are dragon demons, they have elemental powers, so Allie specifically, she is a fire dragon demon, and her twin Rita is a lightning dragon demon, so it's pretty obvious what their powers are, but it's a little more complicated than that. Both are meant to be, the cute characters, but while they do look cute, they are very capable of breaking some bones if you happen to cross them or their family or their friends. So these are girls you do not want to mess with because they are highly trained in combat. More so Allie because she is part of my team, as I called it, but Rita more so because, well, she's kind of like the snappy one of both of them because she's like the more outgoing, the more bratty personality, someone may have put it. So she will put her hands up if you even call her or her sister or her family any names, or if you just make her mad or something like that. Allie, on the other hand, is meant to be my wholesome, sweet, cute, lovable little dragon demon who will always go out of her way to lend a hand with anybody who needs a little help. So now that we've established that Allie is the more sweet one and Rita is the more kick your butt one of the twins, now is a good time to go into my process of how I first came up with them back when I was in high school. Now, I don't know if this is embarrassing or not, but back in elementary school, I had watched the first MLP, not live movie, but the movie where they turned into actual girls, the My Little Pony Equestria Girls movie. And I absolutely fell in love with that movie. That was around the time that I had started to draw like human characters, and this was a year before I got into FNAF. So MLP was like the building block of me going into loving FNAF, Benny Ink Machine, because it came out a couple years later, Cuphead, and all of those like indie horror games, so like that. However, the second MLP movie came out, Rainbow Rocks, and that movie basically told me, or like it gave me an epiphany about what characters I wanted to draw during that time. I remember watching it when it first came out, but then I rewatched it years later after I had gone through like Benny, Ink Machine, Cuphead, all the indie horror games that I talked about earlier. And I was like, okay, I think I have an idea. And it's always a good thing when an artist has an idea to make OCs. I actually did a short video on my TikTok. It's also on Instagram as well too, with my OC Marina, who is Allison and Rita's older sibling. I did that video about, a joke about who I based her off of back then. And that character was Adagio, the siren from Rainbow Rocks. And I think you all can see now where I'm going with this, who I based Allison and Rita off of. Because Adagio has two sisters. I don't think they're actually her sisters, but I'm calling them that. They were Aria and Sonata. Can you see the resemblance? I'm gonna pull up the old photos. Can you kinda see it? If not, I don't know how my younger self saw that. But it happened, and I based them off those two. And it wasn't just those two that I based them off of. I know at least for Allie, not only did I base her design off Sonata, I also took some inspiration for her hair, at least from Meg from Hercules, because she's one of my favorite characters at that time. So I technically took like her hairstyle and merged it a little bit with Allie's and Sonata's. And for Rita, I don't exactly remember where I had gotten like any other features from her design. I do know that her personality is based off Meg's from the movie. So I don't know if you can tell, but back then Hercules was one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. So basically, Allie has Meg's hair look and Rita has her personality. But anyways, back to MLP. I can't really justifiably say that the sirens were like the main basis of my sisters, but I can say that they were heavily inspired by the sisters and also MLP by a long shot. So much so that even a time before the start of my comic, even before the time I discovered the Bendy and Boas Quest for the Ink Machine comic, I had done like a mock-up drawings of a siren, MLP, X, FNAF, AU idea that those three, Allie, Marina, and Rita, were the villains of that AU. They were meant to be like Adagio, Aria, and Sonata. I don't know what I was thinking back then. I was like 14 or 15. Please excuse my weird brain. But that's why y'all are here for, to hear about my weird stuff. But even through all the cringiness, Allie and Rita still hold a close spot to my heart because these two were actually like the first OCs that I put actual effort into giving them a story, into like putting them into the lore whenever I did like the fandom drawings and stuff. And later down the year, now years later, I still am drawing them and they look so much different than what they used to look like. Like, here are some few examples. Other than like the bare bone, like the one thing I kept was their hairstyle. I still changed like so much over the years with these two. Like, they don't have black hair anymore. They don't have the same eye color. They don't have the same like outfits, like black and white. They're no longer pale as heck. They're no longer white. They have color with their skin. They have different personalities. They're still short. That's also a thing I kept. They are short babies, but they have changed significantly so much that talking about them now really making me realize that I'm talking about them like I'm showing like a baby photo, like a baby album of them, and they're judging me silently over in the corner over there. I'm so happy that out of all the characters I made back in high school and with the ones I am still continuing to make, these two, along with other characters that I made back in high school, were like the ones that stuck by me. Like, I remember whenever I was feeling down, or whenever I got into trouble, or just when I'm just in the feels and I'm sad, I would draw these two, or one of them, that I would feel a bit better. Like, and I kept improving on them, and it made them look more to my appeal. Like, I started to enjoy drawing these two more than I enjoyed drawing any of the other OCs, especially Allie, because she was honestly my very first. Rita came after her, and I drew Allie first. And so she was my first OC, and oh my god, I'm getting emotional there. I think the reason that I more appeal towards Allie is because she's like a person that I would look at and I would be like, I want to look up to her. Like, she's like this kind, supporting, lovable girl who's not afraid to try anything new. And she's a big avid reader, and she loves to, like, go on adventures and explore, keep her friends safe at the very least, make sure they don't get into any trouble, and maybe cause a little trouble herself. But not only that, she is willing to fight for what she believes in, and to protect her friends, her family, and anyone else she thinks would be in trouble. And that I would just look up to her if she was a real person. And I'm getting emotional talking because, like I said, she was my first, and this is like this. She's the character I have the most emotional attachment to. Like, she's like my baby OC, and I cherish her to every bit. As for Rita, she came not on a whim, but I wanted Allie to have a sibling, and I don't have a sister. I have an older brother, so I don't know what it's like to have a sister, but I feel like Rita would be like the best sister to her. Because even though they're twins, Allie would be the one who like looks after Rita to make sure she doesn't get into any trouble herself, because Rita is a troublemaker, but she's kind of a smart troublemaker. Like, sure, she may be a brat, she may be a little an a-hole sometimes, like clapbacks and if you're being stupid, or maybe Allie will have to drag her away from fights that she knows she can't finish. But Rita by herself is a genius. Oh my god, she's just like one of the greatest siblings on all time, at least for Allie, because she's basically Allie's yin to her yang, or is it yang to yang? Oh god, I don't know the technical difference between them. In any case, they balance each other out, and Rita does give a helping hand to Allie and her friends whenever they need them, because, like I said, she's a genius, and by genius, I mean she's like a genius hacker. So she's like the hacker of the team. She's not an official member of the team, but she plays, like I said, she plays a bigger role in the comic series. I think the one last thing that I would add about these two would be that for Allie, because she always wants to help somebody and puts everyone else before her, she does have a little trouble like taking care of herself or looking after herself. And that's a problem that she will have to face in the comic. And as for Rita, she is a hider. Like, she hides her problems from people. She doesn't want people to care about, like, if anything's going on with her. Like, her mind says that she can handle things herself, whether big or small. Like, it is her problem. She has to deal with it on her own, and she's a bit stubborn when it comes to asking for help, which I will say it's kind of relatable to me. So these two are honestly kind of like back and forth on what I would be and what I am. And that's probably another reason why I love these two to bits. Whew, okay, I think I've calmed myself down a bit more. Oh god, I don't mean to get this emotional talking characters. I've never gotten emotional when talking to characters like outside of my friend group. Like, I've already like delved into some of the backstories with a lot of my OCs and characters with some of my friends, and I have added additional characters. Some of them are their OCs, some of them are my OCs, to create even more complicated backgrounds with them. Like, and for example, I have an online friend who basically I will be including his OCs into the story. Expect that in my comic, not only will I be adding my own OCs, I will be adding all my friends' OCs whenever they play a role into the comic. I plan on all of them having like some role, small or big, either or. And for his OCs, 2 of them are actually the boyfriends of Allie and Rita. And oh my god, they're just the biggest sweethearts of boyfriends. And I can't wait for y'all to meet them, because I know I'm making a video about them soon. So expect that, because both of them are pretty awesome. So as the drawing is about wrapping up in the back right now, I figured I'd share some common facts about what the two siblings actually enjoy with each other. Like, what is their common similarities that they share, as twins, of course. So number 1, they're actually both avid readers. More So Allie, because she likes to enjoy the fantasy novels, like fantasy romance, little comedy books, like a basic. If Allie was on Book Talk, she would be on Book Talk basically. And for Rita, she actually has a bit of problems reading. It's not like she can't read. It's just a bit dyslexic. So she instead reads like some comic books. She's a comic book nerd. Number two, they actually both love a good cocktail drink together, or just drinks together. More so Rita, because Allie will just have one drink and then keep an eye on Rita to make sure she doesn't overdo herself, or she has to drag her away from the bar because I wouldn't call Rita an alcoholic, but she loves a good drink or two. Especially since in one of the AUs of my friends that I made, in the RP, Rita is literally the owner of a bar, but she doesn't really drink, and that's ironic because in the comic she's kind of an avid drinker, but not too much of a drinker, like a social drinker basically. And number three, they are both into tall men. It sounds very specific, but they really are. In either comics or books or anything they see, they actually go for tall men, which you'll actually see with their boyfriends, because they like them tall, which is not surprising at all considering their height. If you have made it to the end, congratulations! Welcome to the end of the video. And if you want to see more of these two, I'm definitely going to make more speed drawings of these two. They are my babies, they are my darlings. And I hope to see y'all in the next speed drawing. Well, have a good day. Bye!